Hi, Jewish mom. So this last Friday, I went on another amazing walk, a kind of spiritual journey walk through the Jerusalem forest with my teacher, Shira Lichtig. I go to her, she gives a Parsha class in the neighborhood every week. And so she said something she said something during the walk, like we would take breaks and she would kind of give us ideas, like talk a little bit about Pesach. Um, and um, and the truth is that, like, so like leading up to this walk, like I've been kind of like, I said last week about how I wasn't going to get stressed out this year about Pesach, but I think it's just like there's nothing you can do. Pesach, even if you take it easy, and there's a certain amount of stress, a certain kind of like just getting everything done that has to get done. Even if I'm not necessarily the person who I hope is going to be doing as much of it this year, there's just like a lot to do. So I was basically before this hike, before this walk, before the spiritual journey walk with Shira, I was just kind of like flooded with all the things I have to do, and I have to get sandals for the kids and get new socks for this one, and all like the Pesach shopping and clean this, and wouldn't it be great if I could paint this, and then like all like my mind just flooded with all the things I want to get done. And so then Shira said, she said we were sitting down, and she said and about Pesach, as it is for all the holidays, all the Jewish holidays, the main purpose of Pesach is to connect with Hashem. And I was like completely like, what? Oh. I was like, I had completely forgotten about that actually the main purpose of all of this, of getting our families ready and our homes ready and our kitchens ready and everything ready for Seder night is, and Pesach itself. This is all about serving Hashem. This is like another way. Every holiday is its own way of serving Hashem, and Pesach is its own way of serving Hashem. And I completely forgotten about that. So that was kind of like a chiddush for me, and a new idea for me. And so Shira had this amazing idea. She said that that everyone has, so everyone basically in every Passover, like the main way, a big way that we can experience, like serve Hashem as we prepare for Passover. It's not just doing the physical requirements of getting everything ready. It's also on a spiritual level, getting out of our own personal Mitzrayim, our own personal Egypt. So what does this mean? Rabbi Nevin was talking about the same concept, and he was saying that, like in our lives, all of us have something in our lives which is an idolatry. It's an avodah zarah. So all of us have something. What is that? What do I mean by that? Like the word idolatry. What do I exactly mean by that? It means that everyone in like everything that we do in our lives, every day, we have to decide to take. We are supposed to be deciding to take our next step in avodat Hashem, our next step in serving Hashem. So basically, every step, then you can think, well, wait, is this what Hashem wants me to do? Is this what Hashem wants to do? What is the next best thing I can do to truly serve Hashem? So basically, like it might be that this Jewish mom watching this will say, my next step in serving Hashem is to clean my fridge. My next step in Avodat Hashem is to take my daughter to get a new dress for Pesach. My next step in Avodat Hashem is to scrub my, cabinets. And it might be when a Jewish mom will say, my next step in Avodat Hashem is going to be to rest. It's going to be now, instead of cleaning, to rest. It's going to be going out and doing something fun. It's going to be sitting down with a magazine, doing something, eating a meal. That'd be good. It's basically her next step in Avodat Hashem might be doing something that's not the scrubbing and getting ready for basic, but rather doing something so that she can be a thriving, happy, healthy person who gets to Seder night and is a happy person. Actually, a mitzvah to be happy on Seder night, right? It's a mitzvah, an actual mitzvah. So basically what Shira had us do during this hike, is she had us sit down, and she gave us a pretty piece of paper, and she had us write down our prayer, which she said which she said we should read every day, getting ready before Pesach, and before we clean for Pesach, to ask that we be taken out of our own personal Egypt, which is our own thing that we do that keeps us away, that prevents us from taking our next step in serving Hashem. So when I thought about this, I kind of had some time on the hike we took some time out, and just on our own to think. And I realized that there's a bunch of things that I do, that prevent me from taking my next step in serving Hashem. One is, for example, on the holiday, I have a tendency to get lost in the pleasures of food and overeating, and then I get kind of like sluggish and heavy and gain weight and don't feel so great. Okay, that's one thing. One thing is that in general in my life, I have a tendency to rush. I'm rushing and rushing, and I don't take the time to connect with my loved ones, with my family members. I don't take the time to connect with holiness. Let's say, for example, if I have to take time out of my rush to say a blessing over something I'm eating, I'll say it really rushed, okay, or skip parts. Because I'm in the rush. The rush is more important than holiness, but it shouldn't be that way. That's an avodah zarah. The rush is my idolatry, rather than taking the time and really serving Hashem properly. So another thing I tend to do is that I tend to want to do things that are impressive to impress other people, instead of taking my next step in avodat Hashem. So, for example, if I know that I'm really, really tired, and someone's coming over I want to impress, then I will make sure to make sure, like, to go the extra thing and make sure that there's no dirty dishes, let's say, in my sink, when really my next step in serving Hashem might actually be, lie down. Just lie down, so that I'm a nice functioning human being for the people around me, and for myself. And another thing that I do is that I tend to sleepwalk through routine. Instead of thinking what is actually my next step in serving Hashem, I say, okay, no, 8:30 I do this, 9:30 I do this, it's 11 o'clock I have to do this, and instead of rethinking, instead of like getting tied into my rigid to-do list, as opposed to actually thinking, okay, what does actually Hashem want from me right now? Sometimes especially as we prepare for Passover, I have a tendency to neglect my need to eat and drink and rest. And so what happens then, this happened very recently, is that I hadn't eaten, and my husband came home, my kids came home, and I was just snapping at everyone. I'm like, no, da 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 da, because I'm hungry. I was really hungry. Okay. And the last thing that I realized is in my own personal idolatry is that I want things to be easy. I want things to be easy. I want things like my relationships with people, with my kids, my life, all life situations. I want everything to be easy. And if something's not easy, I'm like, why wasn't it just easy? Why did you be dealing with this? And I think that a true way of serving Hashem would be like, okay, this is a difficult situation, a challenging child, a challenging situation, to say, okay, Hashem, this is what you gave me. This is the situation that you gave me. How do you want me to grow through this? And to actually appreciate difficult situations. I'm growing through them. They're actually perfecting my soul, right? Okay. So Shira had us write a prayer, and I suggest to you to do this. It's a very powerful thing that I did. I just sat down and I wrote down a prayer, my own personal Passover cleaning prayer, to read every day before Passover, to remind myself about leaving my own personal Egypt. So this is my prayer, that can just give you an idea of the kind of prayer that you can write. Okay, so this is my prayer. Dear, on my pretty piece of paper, thanks to Shira. Dear Hashem, please free me this Pesach from my personal Egypt, from the avodah zarah, from the idolatry in my life that distances me from Hashem and truly serving Him. From getting lost in the pleasures of food and overeating, from the rush that distracts me from holiness and connection, from the pursuit of being impressive instead of taking my next step in serving Hashem, from sleepwalking through routine instead of consciously living in accordance with my top priorities, from my rigid to-do list, from neglecting my need to eat and drink and rest so I can be kind to those around me, from my desire that life will always be easy, rather than appreciating that challenging people and situations fix my soul. Okay, so when I read this in the hike. I read it to Shira. I read it to like the group, and Shira commented. She said, okay, these are all the things you don't want. So, but now I need the things that you do want. I need you did the Sor Mirat. Now I need the Asay Tov. Okay, so I continued my prayer. Bless me that this Pesach I will learn to truly serve Hashem by eating with self-control, slowing down when I need to connect with loved ones and holiness, valuing impressing Hashem over impressing other people, reevaluating my priorities as I go about my day, caring for my physical needs, which enables me to be kind to my loved ones, and finally, accepting challenges with love, knowing they were given to help me grow as a person and become my most perfect self. Okay, so in conclusion, I was just talking about, the goal of every Jewish holiday is to connect with Hashem. So with all the balagan of getting ready for Passover, to clean, you have to organize, how do you connect with Hashem? An idea I got from my teacher, Shira Lichtig, and also it was also something that Rabbi Niven spoke about, is focusing on when we're cleaning, when we're getting ready, getting out of our own personal Egypt. What's our personal Egypt? It's our own kind of idolatries that keep us from truly taking our next step in serving Hashem. So I give you some ideas, and I encourage you to do it. I encourage you to do this, and it's possible. Write a prayer that can inspire you to, like, what is your focus as you're cleaning for Passover. And I wanted to just finish with a quote from a book I'm loving. It's a book by Rabbi Gedalia Fleer. It's a newly released book, and it's called Heal Me: A Kabbalistic Approach to Physical and Spiritual Well-Being. Okay. And I'm loving this book. It's a very, very interesting book, basically about healing, and it's kind of focused also like for people who are facing serious illness and how to cope with that. But it's really inspirational for regular people who aren't sick also. So this is an amazing line from the book. He says, "To imprison the possibilities of tomorrow in our fixed notions of yesterday makes about as much sense as encasing the wings of a bird in cement or cutting off the legs of a frog and asking it to jump." I'm going to read it again. To imprison the possibilities of tomorrow in our fixed notions of yesterday makes about as much sense as encasing the wings of birds in cement or cutting off the legs of a frog and asking it to jump, right? So basically what he's saying is, okay, this is how it was before. This is how I've been. I've been suffering from all my various idolatries, etc. But I can change. I can change. My family can change. My life can change. It's really true. It's really true. Things can change. And Shira said something amazing. She said, if there's anything stuck in your life, anything that you feel like is so stuck that you feel like you even stop praying about it. This is something so stuck, so bad that there's really nothing you can do. So why even pray? Those are the things you should come with them to Seder night. Like come with them to Seder night and Bezrat Hashem, like Seder night, that you can really, really have a true Yetziat Mitzrayim, a true breakthrough, a true exodus from all the things holding us back. Okay, and I think this very well might be at my last pep talk before Pesach. So I want to bless all of you Jewish moms with a Chag Kasher V'Sameach.